Well, welcome everybody to the beginning of 59 action-packed, thought-provoking minutes built around success or mediocrity. Your choice. This is Ann Backrack. To ask a question today, please type your question in the answer area in the go to meeting area, and I will answer those questions at the end. Just some logistics. The web training today is recorded, so you can listen to it again as many times as you'd like, and the slides will also be made available to you along with the web recording. So first things first, make sure you have some paper, pen or pencil ready for our time together, or if you're typing on a computer with a second screen or third screen, so many people have multiple screens these days, make sure you have something ready to take some notes on. So I'll go as slow enough as I can, hopefully, for you to write some things down. You may have some other ideas that come to you after we get going that when you watch it again, you can go back and recap that. Okay, let's get this party started. Are you seriously committed to your success? Well, sure. Many financial advisors and business professionals say, yeah, they're committed to their success. But are they really? When it comes to commitment to your success, it's my belief that there has to be a no excuses, no exception rule to back it up. This rule is especially true for you as a business owner, simply because there's no one to point the finger at should things not work out as planned. So, as an entrepreneur, you are the one holding the key to your success, and no one but you can be held accountable. Once you make a commitment to something, again, there has to be, in my opinion, a no excuses, no exception rule, because it's an important key that separates the failures from the successes. You must cut out all the ties and escape. Excuse me, my throat's bothering me. You must cut out all the ties to an escape plan or an alternative plan, because they're going to set your mind up for failure. And that's not an option, or at least it shouldn't be. So imagine for a minute, what would happen if you were to commit to your success only 99% of the time? So, for example, let's say that 1% of your clients would be unhappy with your product or service, and they would then proceed to tell 10 of their friends. Those people would then proceed to tell their friends. They had a friend that had a bad experience. Now, this can translate into dozens of lost clients and thousands of lost revenue. Let's say 1% of your printed marketing materials, if you still have things that are printed, or your website or your social media profile, were published with spelling errors or grammar errors. And I have seen this. And you probably have too. This has a devastating effect on any business with a poor perception from the public and your potential clients. Let's say that 1% of your time you don't answer the phone or your email from a prospective client within 24 hours. And I don't necessarily mean you, it could be your staff as well. You or they respond a few days later, but learn they have taken their business to someone else who responded promptly. Now, do you see how much of a difference there can be between just 99% and 100% commitment? Although 1% to most people really doesn't sound like much. So reaching 100% commitment at every opportunity is not always easy. The only way to truly hold a reputation for commitment is by consistently demonstrating 100% to each and every task. Once genuine commitment is displayed, greater success is inevitable. So there are two basic rules when it comes to your success, and a surefire way to, I believe, catapult your success, but they only work when you're 100% committed. So rule number one is 100% commitment to achieving your goals. There may be many opportunities for those excuses and exceptions you might be feeding yourself, but under no circumstance do you want to waver from what you truly desire. Not ever. What do you do if your life doesn't support your goal achievement? Well, in all honesty, there's no easy way around it. Obviously, some changes would have to be made. Sometimes those changes are easy, and other times they're not, especially when there's others to consider. Now, this is no more true when you have a spouse or significant other or children. So, after all, every action you take has a potential to affect others. You may have to do some soul searching and find out if you can make changes that will allow you to commit to your goals while doing the least amount of discomfort to those that will be directly affected. If you choose to commit to achieving your goals, do not settle for anything less. When I coach people, for example, I can't care more about them than they do. And I can't care more about them achieving their goals than they do. If I do, they are not 100% committed and they just won't do the work required to achieve their goals. No matter what, it just won't happen. They always believe, well, yeah, it's a nice to have. So maybe that it's okay. I'm going to have to settle for mediocrity. And that's okay. It's their choice. Rule number 2 is 100% commitment to never ending improvement. So, the second key to your success is committing to never ending improvement. You may be better than you were yesterday, but in no way are you better today than you will be or can be tomorrow. So, taking a humble approach to learning is one of the best ways to set yourself up for success. Use every action and reaction as an opportunity to learn how to do things better next time. And hopefully, you're asking yourself that question whenever you do something. How could this have gone better next time? So, what do I have to do now to make that happen? In addition, surround yourself with as many positive role models as you can. Watch, listen, and learn from other successful financial advisors and business owners that have gone before you. What you can learn can result in huge shifts in your perception. When you're facing obstacles or challenges, do not allow self doubt, fear, or frustration to sway your commitment. So, in fact, during these times, it's actually even more important than ever to remind yourself why your goals are important to you. Reconnect with the emotion that are the driving force behind your goals, and you'll remember why you're taking the steps in the first place to make those changes. Remember, your commitment to your success not only benefits you, but those around you. And I actually believe the world as a whole. I think your profession affects a lot of people in the world over other professions. You must embrace commitment to your goals along with never ending improvement if you wish to reach your true potential and your true success, however you have defined it. Now, Peter Drucker has a quote, and I don't know if you know me well enough to know, but I love quotes. If you do, I love to talk about so many different quotes. Unless commitment is made, there are only promises and hopes, but no plans. So here's where you might want to get out your paper or your computer or second screen to take a few notes, because we're going to whip through this and you're not going to have time to think a lot about the answers to these questions I'm going to be asking you. So an action step that relates to this is, are you committing less than 100% to the achievement of your goals? Hopefully you are. So list 5 goals that you are absolutely committed to achieving. Yes, Anne, I'm 100% committed to achieving these goals. And just start with 5 of them. Start with 3 of them. So write those down or start thinking about those or type them in to a document on your computer. The next step would be then to identify 5 or more changes or action steps you can take to make forward progress to each of the goals you said that you're committed to achieving. So sometimes I think we take too big of steps and we don't take a little baby steps along the way to get there. So it becomes overwhelming to achieve something. So we're identifying 5 or more changes or action steps that you can take to make forward progress on the goals you said that you're 100% committed to achieving. Now, what you want to do then is prioritize those action steps. So put them in some kind of priority order, obviously with the ones that have, I would say, the biggest impact on you making the most progress. Now, be sure then to put any action steps in your calendar so that you actually get them done. What a novel idea. So hopefully you use your calendar and you're working at being effective in time management. Be clear about the benefits, again, of you committing to doing the action steps. Those benefits can be to you, to your clients, to your potential clients, to people around you, again, to your family, to your friends. The benefits can be far reaching to other people in the world. So make sure to be clear about all those benefits when you commit to doing your action steps. Sometimes this helps you actually do them if you might not really want to. So some of the things that you have to do, you might not like to do. So, and I know you know what I'm talking about. So in order to do them, you want to think of the benefits and the outcome, the end result. The outcome hopefully then motivates you to do what you actually need to do. Another one of my favorite quotes, actually by Jim Rohn, is time is more valuable than money. You can make more money, but you cannot get more time. So it's important for all of us to recognize how valuable your time is and how you choose to spend it. We all have 168 hours in a week. It is finite. You can't invest it and use it later. We spend our time however we choose to spend it every second of every day. I constantly am working with my one-on-one clients when they talk about doing something. Is that the best use of your time during that time period? Is it just the best use of your time at all to ever do? So these are things you should constantly be paying attention to. Now, I know the bookkeeping is important, and obviously so is voicemail and email and a lot of other things that have to be done. But a lot of those tasks are not directly responsible for generating revenue. Now, some of them might, but usually most of them are not directly responsible for generating revenue and are better left to be managed by someone else who can do them. So again, it's about delegation. Are you guilty of focusing on the less important, or as I call it, low payoff tasks when you really should be doing and engaging with more important tasks, or as I call them, the high payoff tasks? If you've ever been guilty of this, well, let's continue to discover 4 common self-sabotaging habits that keep advisors and business professionals from the revenue and success that they really want and deserve. So self-sabotaging habit number 1 is wasting time on low payoff activities. You are a valuable piece, as you know, of the revenue generating and business development puzzle. So if you're sitting at your desk, spending the majority of your time on low payoff tasks, you don't have the time to focus on the most important part of your business, generating revenue and doing only the things that you can do and no one else can do. So, would you hire, for example, a $100 an hour team member to do a $20 an hour task? Well, duh, no, not likely at all. This is the same reasoning behind why you shouldn't be the company bookkeeper or receptionist. Now, again, that's not to say that some of these types of tasks are not important, but they are not directly related to driving immediate revenue. Hence, they are low payoff tasks for you. So they might be important and high payoff tasks for someone else, but they're not for you. So your sole focus should be on the high payoff tasks. As we mentioned, the revenue generating tasks. The low payoff tasks should be completed and removed from your schedule and delegated to a virtual assistant or a team member or whoever else you might know. It could be sometimes people, have their kids involved in their business. It could be a lot of different options. So you can ultimately focus your energy on the high payoff tasks. So doing the low payoff tasks are what I call revenue generating avoidance activities. So you may not like doing some of those revenue generating activities and business development activities, but you may be the best and maybe the only person who really can do it and get it done. So again, focusing on only what you can do that's making forward progress. Self-sabotaging habit number 2 is ignoring high payoff tasks. Do you know what you need to be doing to boost revenue? But maybe you're not doing it or doing it consistently. I think most of you hopefully should be aware of what you're supposed to be doing. So perhaps the fear of doing tasks outside your comfort zone is stopping you from doing the very things that will make the difference in your business revenue and ultimate business success. So let's be clear. You own your own business. You must become very astute at recognizing and completing high payoff tasks, or you will not reach your desired level of success. It's just the way it is. Let's say that you're maybe a creative type genius. The sales part of your business really just isn't your thing. So you could hire a sales team to help drive in some sales and increase revenue. But at some point, you're going to have to tackle the very thing that might be scaring you. It takes courage, really, to step outside of your comfort zone and conquer the things that scare you. But you can do it. To help conquer the fear, focus on the process of learning how to master your craft. Many people think they're doing high payoff activities, but they are really just doing client revenue generation, again, avoidance activities. They may not always like what they want to do to increase the business, but that's what you need to do. Mastering your high payoff tasks is more important than you think, because once you master the high payoff activities, you are in a much higher probability position to achieve your goals in the time frame that you set. It may not, again, initially be easy or comfortable, but you will feel really good when you get the outcome that you want. I always say that top producers and advisors and business professionals really are comfortable with being uncomfortable, like all the time. In order for them to be in the position that they're at, they're comfortable being uncomfortable all the time. And that's really how you have to look at this. And it's not a terrible uncomfortable, it's just, a little uncomfortable all the time. Self-sabotaging habit number 3, lacking intimate knowledge of your business. In this case, ignorance is not bliss. In order to create a successful, profitable business, you must have intimate knowledge of your business, including where the majority of your revenue originates or could originate. If you don't, you're going to continue to struggle with generating the level of revenue you want and desire. Get to know your business as intimately as you would a partner, learning its quirks, its perks, its strengths, and weaknesses. Accentuate the strengths while continuing to work on the weaknesses. And a lot of times people say, you need to work on your weaknesses. I don't necessarily believe that's true. I would have someone else who it's their strength to help work on the areas where you're weak. In most cases, again, it's not 100% foolproof. So commit to that continual learning so you're on top of potential opportunities. Technology advancements, my gosh, move so fast, and you need to keep up to stay in the game, in my opinion anyway. I mean, it's exponentially moving faster and faster all the time. Self-sabotaging habit number 4 is failure to follow up. Although it's mentioned last here, failure to follow up is one of the top self-sabotaging habits in business, if you can believe that. Sometimes the only thing that separates you from a new or repeat client is the follow-up. A simple email or phone call could boost business revenue with little effort. It's amazing to me. I was just on the phone this morning with someone who is having a hard time following up. So she has Redtail, sent her spreadsheets that she can sort by to know where people are in the pipeline, because a lot of people don't have a resource, but there are a lot more resources available to people today than there were when I originally created these. But it just perplexes me how some people just lose people It's like you work so hard to get people in the pool. How in the world could you lose where they're at or just forget about them? Essentially, it comes down to letting a prospective client know how you can help them and just ask for the frickin' business. Personalized follow up can be time consuming when not managed properly. So you need to create some kind of automated system to follow up with every lead, every prospect, and even client that comes into your space, into your world. I can't tell you how many times I talk to people who really fall behind with referrals. And it's like, you're kidding me here. This is money that you could have and you didn't follow up, or you forgot even who somebody was that was referred to you. It just blows my mind. Okay. Does this sound familiar at all to you? You set goals, yet you don't achieve them. Time and time again, you find yourself stopping midway between the start and the finish lines. You start off running out of the gate, shoo, there you go. Enthused and driven to make a difference this time. It's going to work. But each time something derails you from actually sticking to the game plan that you're set. Sound familiar? Well, perhaps you convinced yourself that it was lack of time or energy or resources that held me back. You simply didn't have the time to stick to it, or that a 5 a.m. run or late night at the gym was the last thing you felt like doing that was really motivating to you. You didn't have a babysitter, or you didn't have the money, or you just didn't have the willpower. Well, it's the classic paradox of dreamer versus doer. Now, as you may or may not know, my excuses don't count, sorry, results rule philosophy is based on my coaching with business professionals and advisors, because excuses are never the real reason you stop short of your goals. No, the real reason is something entirely different. So, what is the real reason behind all those excuses that you make to yourself? Well, in my opinion, you are simply not willing to do what it takes to achieve the goals. That's just plain and simple. You just don't want what you say you want bad enough to actually do what it takes. And again, that's okay. If that's fine, that should be fine. This is the real reason, and the only thing stopping you from achieving your goals, in my opinion, plain and simple. The initial desire of achieving a goal may be enough to kickstart your action and your motivation and get those juices flowing, but it takes real commitment to maintain that motivation to go all the way to achieving the goal in the time frame that you want. Commitment is what separates the dreamer from the doer. No matter what the nature of the excuse is, the only reason you stop short of achieving your goal is because the desire to do whatever it takes to achieve the goal isn't strong enough. So, in other words, you just don't want it badly enough to commit to being that doer. So if you're tired of start-stop goal setting, we are going to talk about 3 tips for helping you understand the reasons behind not wanting it badly enough. So tip number 1 is the payoff isn't high enough. Sometimes the payoff, in other words, the future benefit of goal achievement, isn't enough to maintain your motivation in the now, in the present. The last mile, that last lap, that last squat at the gym, another phone call to a prospect, it can be challenging to find the motivation from the payoff, especially when it isn't high enough. So your payoff should be so enticing that there's no question in your mind that you are sticking to your game plan. Again, no questions, no excuses. You desire that payoff so deeply that you will do whatever it takes to achieve that goal. Just being willing to do something doesn't mean you actually will do it. Tip number 2 is flip the payoff, basically pain coin. So 2 sides, payoff, pain. If you simply cannot find a future payoff worth your commitment or high desire, Flip the coin and focus on the current pain of remaining where you are. The reality is that goal achievement isn't always peaches and cream. It isn't always the easiest thing to do, and it typically isn't the easiest thing to do. You can bet that at some point you will have to do what you don't feel like doing in order to get to where you want. Sound familiar? I talk to so many advisors. I work with so many people. And for most of the people that I work with, it's just picking up the freaking phone and making the calls. Once they make the first call, it's easy peasy. But it's just picking up the phone to make that first call to a prospect or whomever they're calling that just is the hardest thing for them to do. It's those critical moments where you must decide if you desire to remain a dreamer or become a doer. It's all a matter of distinguishing what motivates you in these critical moments. Whatever's not motivating you, flip that coin and focus on the contrasting factor, because maybe that's the pleasure of it, the payoff of it isn't so great, so you have to do the pain side to see if that works. So payoff or pain. You have to sometimes, unfortunately, the negative aspect is so great, it pushes you to do what you need to do. Tip number 3 is your current pain isn't great enough. Perhaps you stop yourself from achieving your goals because your current pain is just simply not great enough. So again, this is the flip of the coin. The idea of achieving the goal basically entices your interest, but not your commitment. So Ken Blanchard has a quote. I think he brilliantly says this. There is a difference between interest and commitment. When you're interested in something, you do it only when it's convenient. When you're committed to something, you accept no excuses, only the results, only the outcome, only the benefits at the end. The end result sounds nice, and if you could wave that magic wand without having to do the work, you gladly would. I think we all would, as a matter of fact. But you're not so bad off. Here's how the internal conversation might play out in your head. I'd like to lose those last 10 pounds, but I feel okay about my body the way it is. I'll start worrying about it when my pants quit fitting. Sure, I'd like more clients, but that means more calls, more times I have to ask for referrals. I might have to go to more networking events and do more marketing. Maybe it's more time and money I really don't have or want to spend. I'm getting by okay. I guess I'm doing all right. It's not so bad here. It will be the way, it will be way, it'll be way too much work for me to change now. Now, these are just a few examples of an internal conversation that for some of us convince us that settling for anything less than we really want to have and that we desire is okay. So it's our way of letting ourselves off the hook. If you're not motivated enough by the payoff, then you've got to find a current pain that is great enough to get you moving. And it's unfortunate that for most people, and it really, in my opinion, is unfortunate that most people are pushed more by pain or the discomfort to do something that they need to do than the actual outcome or benefit they'll get when they do it. I don't know why that is, but everything I've seen and read talks about the pain is actually a greater motivator. And I'm sad to say that, but that's just everything I've read and heard. It doesn't have to be you. That's just what I read and heard for the majority of people. Do you want to be here in this same place that you're at now, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, or 3 years from now? Do you want to continue the start-stop game of self-sabotage? Do you want to negotiate your happiness? Or do you finally want to get on with it and do whatever it takes to achieve your goals? That's for you to decide and maybe recommit and refocus. So we're going to talk about now is 4 ways to increase the productivity of your business. So for every financial advisor and business owner who is on the lookout for effective ways to increase productivity of their team, or they should be, the reality is that you and your employees are ineffective and unproductive, probably more than you think. The key is to reduce lost hours and wasted manpower. So we're going to talk about 4 ways that you can take an active approach in increasing the efficiency and productivity of your business and increase, therefore, your overall success and really accelerate your results. So productivity number 1 is lead by example. If you work directly with an assistant or team of employees, you should always lead by example. And I know that probably goes without saying. Show them how you'd like them to manage their productivity by being a master of productivity yourself. It's unfair to have unrealistic expectations of your team when you don't uphold yourself to the same standards. When you put an end to income blocking procrastination and time wasting, you'll soon see that your team follows the admirable example that you've set. So if you're an habitual procrastinator or have trouble focusing on productivity, you would serve yourself well and your business to hire an accountability coach. An accountability coach will show you several effective ways to increase productivity in your business and hold you accountable for your actions as well as your results. When you were asked to explain to your accountability coach why you didn't achieve the task at hand because you choose to do a lower payoff activity and client acquisition avoidance activities, it won't feel comfortable to be on the hot seat by your coach. Now, I work with a lot of group people as well, and it works out super well. So on my website, you can find different ways to hold group people accountable or individuals accountable, but it is all about accountability. So a lot of people just most of us, for a matter of fact, need a little accountability in some area of our life. And you can create a lot of different ways to get that. Tom Peters basically says, calendars never lie. They are 100% accurate and visual indicators of your priorities. So productivity tip number 2 is work each day with most people call it a to-do list or a master task list. I like to call it a prioritized action list. So it's just a glorified master task list or to-do list, but obviously everything is in priority order. Therefore, I call it a prioritized action list, or your pal or your buddy that you always have around. Really creating a to-do list or PAL is one of the most efficient and effective ways to increase productivity for everybody in your business. Crafting a detailed prioritized action list for you and your team members will help them comprehend exactly what's expected of them every day, every week, every month, and into the future. This will motivate them to complete the task they've been given with the greatest efficiency and effectiveness. If your assistant or team is known for procrastinating, this is an especially effective tool for encouraging them to stay focused. When you don't leave wiggle room for lollygagging, you have one heck of a productive team. So again, in the olden days, I always create Excel spreadsheets for everything if somebody doesn't have something. This is an example, and the URL is on your screen, of what I consider prioritized action list. In today's world, however, there are so many contact management systems and things out there where you can assign people online things that are associated with the client record or a record where you can get that done. So this is a super productive tool that hopefully you all are utilizing, whether again it's online, or you can download my sample and then come up. Most everything has what they call a master task list or a to-do list or something like that. But you can a lot of times customize what exists electronically and in technology that you already have to look somewhat like what I've created. Productivity tip number 3 is delegate appropriately. If you can't delegate right now, you can't really increase productivity, period. That's just the way it is. The key to increasing productivity is realizing where your time, and everyone's time really, is best spent. Where your assistant or team's time is spent really does matter as well. When you can delegate the right tasks to the right person, your business will operate without a hitch. However, hanging on to tasks that you should let go of, maybe even long ago, will stagnate your success. When you need a task completed, look to the personality and experience of your team in order to decide which employee would best be suited for that task. Excuse me. And if you don't have team members now, I mean, you can use virtual assistants, you can use part-time people. Again, there are options for you to be able to delegate, but you should be asking yourself the question whenever you're doing something, could someone else do all of this or part of this? So many times, and even me coaching people for years, they'll still say, oh, I need to do this. I'm like, well, who needs to do that? Oh, yeah, I don't really need to do that. So again, your time is so valuable. Every second of every day and how you spend it is really important, and you need to be intentional with your time because it is so valuable. Productivity tip number 4. For you, it could be just building a bigger team. Now, I know this is a simple concept. The more team members you have producing and who are effective, not just, people hanging out, the more work you'll generate, and hopefully then the more money that it will bring in for your business. So hiring additional team members is one of the most effective ways to increase productivity in your business. As you can see from the 4 tips that we just explored, there are several ways to increase productivity of your business. Now, some of these tips are just simple, yet they're effective ways to instilling principles of productivity in your team. So the question on the table then becomes, what will you do next so you can increase productivity and be on a path where you can accelerate your goals? So create a game plan with the highest probability position for you to do that. So take a look again and think about the 4 tips that we talked about and write down specific action items that you would like to put into play going forward. Don't let this be another session you attended and didn't get some action items that you actually implemented. I always think that's a waste of time. Okay, we're going to talk now about 5 success principles. So if you think that creating a successful business may just be the most challenging goal you've ever taken on, you're probably correct. Building a successful business, for most people anyway, is not a walk in the park, but it's certainly a realizable and achievable. In some cases, it doesn't always require a lot of money, although that would clearly be an asset. And frankly, it doesn't even require that you have the most talent, like you might just be, quote, the average Joe. That's okay. How many people do you know in your industry who you would consider just kind of an average person, but are knocking it out of the park? So you don't have to be any kind of a special person. Building a successful business does require a strategic business owner, though, who follows the principles of success to build a castle where there was once only just sand. So success principle number 1 is don't waste your time again on unnecessary tasks, or as I defined them before, low payoff tasks. So you have to really work at reducing procrastination and not doing revenue generation avoidance activities. It's really about making sure that you're intentional with your time and really focusing on only what you can do. What you're looking at on your screen is a sample opportunity tracker for a financial advisor who I said, what are your opportunities in the pipeline for you to achieve the goals between now and the end of the year? And he didn't have anything. So he created this, and this is sort of an example. Obviously, the names are different and things like that, but he created this spreadsheet to really help him know what was in his pipeline to achieve his goal. So you always have to have anywhere from 2.5 to 5 times what you need or want in your pipeline to actually hit the goal. So if you wanted to hit, let's say, $100,000, you'd have to have 2.5 to 5 times that number in the pipeline to be able to achieve the goal. So again, most people I've worked with over the years didn't have anything that really helped them identify this really clearly and specifically. So I created an Excel spreadsheet that helped them do that, and the URL is on your screen for that. And some resources that can help you with what we've been talking about. If you don't have people that can help you, some people do, some people don't. Some people have field teams, some people have one person, some people have nobody. So I just made a quick list of a few places to go that you could consider if you wanted someone virtually. So Upwork or guru.com assist you, or the International Virtual Assistant Association are a couple of places that you could go to get help. And sometimes, I mean, I've had 5 virtual assistants at one time, all doing very different things, because not one of them had the expertise to do more than one of the things that I needed done. So sometimes it's, hey, I need somebody to do this specifically, and other people you find don't have the skills to do that. So you're paid less money actually that way, because you get somebody who's super time efficient because they're an expert at getting something done. So it takes them less time to get it done for you than it would somebody else who it's really not their expertise. It amazes me. I work with a number of people to do some marketing that I want done. So one person is kind of the web design person. The other person does the email campaign, online technology. The other person writes the copy, but they all work together, but they all have their each individual areas of expertise, and none of them know how to do the other person's job. So you have to sometimes work with multiple people to get to the outcome that you want. Success principle number 2 is put your money back into your business. And I know you've heard that a bazillion times. When you're first starting out, it's exciting to turn a profit, and you may be tempted even today in a successful business to blow some of that money on a non-business related item or event. So the money is better served going back into your business to help you grow. And most of you know this, but it's just being more thoughtful about, hey, where is all the money going, and what could I do to improve my business, especially as fast as technology and things that are growing in today's world. What could you be doing for back office technology or just workflows technology? And again, a lot of the softwares now, Redtail and others, have workflow technologies that most people just don't take advantage of. So you pay for a software that you really aren't utilizing to the fullest degree. So that's something that you should also consider, is utilizing maybe just better what you've got. Success principle number 3, get outside of your own limited mindset. So negative people never build success. Do you know why? Because they're too busy focusing on the negative to take action on valuable opportunities. That doesn't mean that you must remain, happy holly 24/7, but do not let the negative people, the negative emotion keep you down. If something doesn't go your way, allow yourself just a brief moment to replay the situation. Think about what you could have done differently so you don't do that again, and you'll do X, the next time. And once that minute is up, just let it go. I always call this, I allow people to have a 1-minute pity party, then put the big girl or big boy pants on and just move on and get on from it. Get on with it. Learn from it. Stay positive. It's, I don't think most people have a lot of negative things that actually happen to them, most of the time. It's like, I'll go back to the example of just picking up the phone. Most people are so afraid to pick up the phone. They just dilly-dally. But once, I can't tell you, almost everybody, I don't know anybody that hasn't told me, once I pick up the phone, Ann, yeah, not everybody says yes, but for the most part, people are pleasant. They're nice. I schedule appointments and I schedule meetings. It's really not so terrible. I just don't know why it's so hard for me to make that first call. So, most of the time, it's just not so bad. Success principle number 4, remember your passion. So after the novelty of, creating your business and working in it for a while wears off, it's sometimes hard to keep that passion alive in us. So it's always important to reconnect with the why you started your business in the first place. Keep those triggering thoughts close to your heart and exploit them to propel you into working smarter and build the business that you really want. Keep the fire that compelled you to start your business in the first place burning bright. Now, for those of you who are familiar with my husband, Bill Backrack, his work, he's created the financial roadmap in the financial services industry to help people get clear on what's truly important to them or their core values. So in other words, of the financial roadmap, there's more pieces to it down below, but this is really what's important to them, and really finding out from your clients what their core values are, what's truly important to them, to help them really, live their life on purpose and make smart choices with their money that you control. So I have I don't remember how many pages it is actually, but it's a values clarification exercise. So if you aren't familiar with this will help you. So it's a free download, and here's the URL on your screen. So it just helps you, or you can even do this with your clients. So it's just really helping you go through a values clarification exercise. This is a little bit easier, and you can do it in a fairly short period of time, like 5 minutes per person. Usually this might take a little bit longer, but it still works as effectively. So you can download that URL if you'd like to do a values clarification exercise and see what's important to you. If you would like to go through this process and you haven't been through the financial roadmap, I'm happy to take you through that process as a complimentary for being on the webinar today. Only those of you who are on live would get that opportunity. So you can email me at ann@accountabilitycoach.com, and you can just put FRM at the top, or core values, or values, or whatever you want in the subject area. And I'm happy to do that only for those of you who are on the webinar live today. Benefits of showing up. Oh, sorry, here it is. My email, ann@accountabilitycoach.com, to get your complimentary consultation for that if you haven't been through that before. It's pretty cool. Success principle number 5 is take action constantly. Many unsuccessful people share common traits, really. They complain, they feel sorry for themselves, and ultimately they give in to failure. On the other hand, then, while successful people, they really have gotten to where they are today because they kept going no matter what happened. Every step they took them closer to achieving their goals that they wanted, and eventually they experienced the success that they were shooting for. So please don't let anything derail you from your goals. Keep improving, keep working on overcoming any kind of obstacle that you have. Just disregard it. Put your big boy pants on, big girl pants on, move on. Focus on what you can control, you and your actions and your activities, and don't let all this other crap really get in your way. So again, reflect on the 5 success principles we talked about and pick which one or ones of those would have the biggest impact on you moving forward to the success of your goal achievement. One of the most important factors when achieving success is having a game plan. Without it, you're merely winging it, and that will make the journey way more complicated than it needs to be. This isn't hard. Step number 1 is start with where you want to be. Write out your list of goals that address your long-term big picture. What do I want in the future? What do you want it to look like? Determine where you are now. Work your way backwards. So step 2 is just really working your way backwards. Here's my long-range goals. Here's what I want to accomplish this year against those long-range goals. So again, it's basically breaking it down, chunking it down into more bite-sized pieces. And then knowing the difference between a specific goal or something that really you're not going to work hard to do. So it might be just a nice to have, but you're really not 100% committed to achieving it. So really define that, and then put time in your calendar to do all the activities you know you need to do in order to get the outcomes that you want. It's really not that complicated, people. It's really not, but it does take focus. It does take intention. It does take belief for you to be able to do this. Okay. And then if you got value from the information that we've talked about today, you'll get a huge amount of value from my No Excuses program. It's basically 10 audios and 9 chapters where I have exercises in them to work through them to really understand 9 different concepts. So it's like procrastination and limiting beliefs and time management and those types of things. So there's 9 chapters that really go into a lot of detail with exercises and audios that support it. And it's only $197. And today, if you enroll or register or download this or pay for this, invest in this by April 30th, you're going to get these bonuses. So it's $190, $100.90, almost $101 worth of bonuses. So my Live Life with No Regrets book, the audio and the ebook combo, my Excuses Don't Count Results Rule ebook and MP3 audio of the book. Tony Alessandra has a great book, The Platinum Rule, for small business mastery, which I think is awesome, and a time management book by him also. And then I could, again, of course, my inspirational quote book, because I love quotes. You have that available to you. So basically, you invest $197 and you get $100 worth of free things along with that. But the value that you get from when you implement these things is, of course, way more than that. So a lot of the things I put into my books and my resources are because my coaching clients said to me, I bet you tell the same people the same things over and over again. Why don't you put them into books, Anne? Why don't you make this available to everybody? And I thought, well, I guess that's really pretty logical question to be asking me. So I put these things into ways that you can consume them that would be beneficial for everybody and more affordable than paying me the monthly one-on-one coaching. So not everybody can afford to do that. So if you just go to the URL on the screen, accountabilitycoach.com, you can go to the coaching store and then the bookstore, and you'll see the no excuses there. And you can get that as long as you do that before April 30th, you'll get all of these bonuses with that. And one more thing, speaking about one-on-one coaching, before I go to close, I do have a couple one-on-one, just two one-on-one slots. If you're interested in one-on-one coaching, again, you can email me, Ann at accountabilitycoach.com for that. So I appreciate you being on the session today, and I appreciate Insurance WebEx Insider for inviting me to share these proven resources and tools with you. So imagine for a minute with me, it's 1 year from now, and you wake up, and as you're leisurely drinking your morning beverage, you realize that you're now living your ideal life. You have your ideal business. And take a moment to reflect on what you did to get here. So perhaps you took action on what you learned today is one of the factors. So again, don't let this be another session you attended and didn't implement anything. That's just a waste of time. Continue to let me know what I can do to assist you on your goal achievement journey. I don't see any questions in the queue, so either I went super fast or I explained everything so thoroughly you don't have any questions. Is there anything I can do for you today or help you with today while you have me live? Just remember to, if you're interested, you can download these particular exercises, free samples of the things that we talked about today. I don't see any questions coming in. So if there's nothing else I can do for you, you have the gift of about 5 minutes to the top of the hour to get started on some ideal client acquisition activities. Again, thanks again for having me and being with me today, and hopefully you got some value. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye for now.